are gonna go live. Welcome to the Android Headline Show, podcast number 12. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the show. Fasten your seatbelts. It's time to get your droid on. Every week we talk about the latest Android news and rumors, the good, the bad, and the ugly. This is episode number 12, and we're just happy to be here. We haven't gotten banned or anything like that. On tonight's show, we're going to be covering the Google Nexus rumors, and as well a little bit on HTC. Of course, Key Lime Pie involved in there. And I'm Chris Yakulik, El Patron Yakulik, your host, founder of Android Headlines, broadcasting to you from an overpriced suburb in sunny LA. And I would like to all as well introduce you to my favorite Brit assistant editor, Tom the Duke Dawson, coming to you from some rainy place near Buckingham Palace in the UK. Welcome to the show today, Tom. How you doing?
Not too bad. How are we all?
Great, thanks. And I'd like to introduce you to the one, the only, associate editor, Mike Stingray Stinger from Parts Unknown. Hi, Mike.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, buddy. Now, as well, I'd also like to introduce our other co-host, our resident greenhorn writer, Alex the Great Maxim from Detroit Rock City.
What's up, everyone?
How you doing, Alex? How's the
Pretty
weather
good.
up in Detroit?
A little cold, but not too bad yet.
Wow, thanks, buddy. And last but not least, our diva writer, Christina from the beautiful Wisconsin. How you doing, Christina?
I'm doing pretty good. It's cold.
Awesome. We still have one more special guest to introduce, but he's having some technical difficulties on his end. We'll get to him when he decides that he can make an appearance. Let's get let's get some heat in this kitchen and start cooking with our first topic of the week. Rumors have been flying around fast and furious over the past week of all kinds of stuff about Nexus. Some true, some believable, some not. And on this show today, we're going to debunk some of those rumors and myths. Some have been faked. Some maybe not so fake as people might think they are. Remember, we don't know what is in these Nexus devices till they actually drop. And we see what Android 4.2 has to offer for sure. Some of this stuff can be myths. It can be bullshit as well and just pure speculation. But, in the next version, we're going to see all kinds of new juicy stuff. Last week, we did a preview on some of the stuff that we were speculating about. Some untrue rumors came out as well, too. So we'll cover some of that. And, the one true thing is that it's Nexus season. The latest device is coming. A software update is coming. So we're going to cover that this show. This is our Nexus special, and we hope you really enjoy it. Before getting too crazy on the Nexus talk, let's talk about the latest HTC device that dropped just last week. Our resident editor here on the site, the Duke Dawson, was covering the device launch that kind of came a little bit out of the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the night, early morning. HTC just decided to throw this device at us. We had been talking about this device on the show for a few weeks, speculating, and all of a sudden it dropped in our laps. And Tom, why don't you fill in the viewers a little bit about the device and some of the specs that go along with it?
So you want me to talk about the HTC One X Super Mega Plus thingy?
Yeah, that thingy.
Well, this is HTC's attempt to refresh their lineup for the fall, running into the holiday season, and predictably, it's just a One X with some of the extras. For a start, it's finally it's the quad-core Tegra 3 that we saw in the international version that I'm packing here with LTE at last. It's clocked at 1.7 gigahertz, up from 1.5. the same 1 GB of RAM. It's got exactly the same 4.7-inch Super HD IPS display, as well as the same 8-megapixel camera. It looks the same apart from some red trimming, and it has a much bigger battery than the version I have. The version I have is the Tegra 3 with a 1.5, and it has an 1800 mAh battery, but the One X Plus has 2100 mAh. So whilst it might not be quite as long as the Razer Max or the new Razer Max HD, it'll last quite a bit longer. And it should be coming to AT&T soon.
Beautiful. It's got some tap to go to pair with Beats audio speakers as well.
Oh yeah. Sorry, there is some new features of Sense 4 Plus, which is going to ship the device. There's some added stuff in the camera, and yeah, there's tap to go with certain Beats audio speakers, and there's like a new get started setup kind of thing that you'll be able to do on an HTC website. You go to the link and you put in all of your stuff, and then you can kind of link up all of your contacts and so on and so forth to your new One X Plus. And Sense 4 Plus will be coming to the One S, the One X, and presumably the HTC Evo 4G LTE, as well as Verizon's incredible 4G LTE, is it?
Now there's 64 gigabytes of storage on there. Is that stock right out of the box, or are those bought in increments?
No. The 64 gigabyte is just, that'll be what you get with the One X Plus, because the original One X, well, my One X, because right, the One X in the States comes with 16, I think, and then this one now comes with 64. But because there's no added, there's no micro SD card slot, so 64 is what you get, and 64 gigabytes is what you're stuck with. And
that's a pretty nice boost in storage. Definitely something I'd like to see more devices be able to have is 64. I think that would pretty well take care of anybody's storage needs, unless of course you're dumping your entire movie collection onto your phone. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Now, will it have a micro SD card slot or?
No, I think Tom just said he was saying that it won't come with one. That's why.
No.
No, Alex?
Nope, it won't have a micro SD card.
Now I know Alex had a little bit of an issue. It's kind of an issue and a pet peeve that I have with a little bit of this device launch. Did you want to share your thoughts on this, Alex?
Well, HTC is having all these financial problems right now, and they're only launching devices on one network or one carrier in the US. They need to do more of what Samsung is doing with the Galaxy S3 and the Galaxy Note 2, launch on everything.
Yeah. I wonder why HTC is not doing so well sales-wise. I have no idea.
From a logistics standpoint, it might be a little bit difficult for HTC to launch on all the carriers, but I'm fairly certain that if they approached other carriers, well, I'm not sure. I mean, I think you'll probably see an Evo 4G LTE Super Mega Plus ×2, and then an incredible 4G LTE plus 5 or something.
Well, doesn't this really, this gets away from what they were trying to do back at Mobile World Conferences, the one series, just the one name launched across all the carriers. At least I thought that's what the mentality was. And they would, have this device for everybody and no confusing names and stuff. But yet we're seeing is kind of going back to the old thing where the only thing that's kind of, the naming is similar, but, different devices. And I think what Alex was saying, and I've said this before, if HTC really wants to be successful, they need to launch these devices simultaneously across all of the carriers. Because when you just launch a device on one carrier, you're obviously limiting that, out of 4 big carriers, that's only 25% of the market that you're actually able to capture in North America, because you're only going with, one carrier. Now everyone else that wants an HTC One X, you either join AT&T or too bad. Or you wait for maybe a variant to come out later on down the road, hopefully on one of the other carriers. But you think, with someone that's having financial troubles, and I think today there was a tune, don't quote me, was a $173 million loss for this quarter. you would think that maybe if they put some of their phones on other carriers, they would, be able to make up for some of that red ink. I mean,
Yeah,
it seems common sense.
Yeah, it's kind of sad because HTC makes some pretty good phones.
They really do.
Huh.
I think, it's some of the marketing is the issue, obviously.
This was the promise of the One series, but it just goes to show how much power carriers can have. Because, I mean, Motorola have been in the pocket of Verizon so long now that where else do you go to get a decent Motorola phone? Apart from maybe the Atrix HD, but even still, before that, where would you go to get a decent Motorola phone? You go to Verizon or nowhere else, realistically. And the same sort of happening to HTC, but HTC are probably suffering in a worse way because it's sort of diluting their whole brand value in the States. Because over here, in Europe, the One series really carried its promise: less models, more polish, go wherever you want, buy it. Whereas in the States, they had the One X launch on AT&T, and then they had the Evo 4G LTE, which we all knew Sprint were going to have an Evo because, let's be honest, the Evo is Sprint realistically.
Yeah.
But I mean, Verizon basically pulled a fast one at HTC. I mean, they got, they said to HTC, well, we'd love to have one of your phones in the lineup, but we've not really got room for it to compete with the Galaxy S3 and the Droid Razr and the Razr Max. So why don't you just make some kind of a little device like you did last year? That'd be really nice. So they got the run to the litter, and for Verizon to sort of command a big phone manufacturer like that, it's a little bit worrying when you think about it. Because
I mean, there could be, in all fairness, maybe to HTC, that they had some existing, agreement or contracts for certain phones. That this may have been planned. Who knows? We don't know exactly what their contractual agreements are with AT&T. Obviously, there's been some exclusivity that's been in place, so there may have been something, in place before this phone, or before their financial troubles maybe even were really this prominent. But hopefully we're going to see more HTC phones on more carriers, sticking with the one brand, the Galaxy S3 launch on all 4 carriers, come out, make a bang, get your devices into the hands of much more people so that, they can shore up their financial issues and get these, these great-looking devices just out there to more people besides AT&T users. So, and just to go and show you, I mean, AT&T, they're okay. But if you take a look at our lineup, there's no one on on our lineup that are using AT&T. So chances are no one on this lineup of Android enthusiasts and users are going to be buying an HTC X1 Plus.
I will say though, I will switch to AT&T if AT&T pays for it.
Yes, of course.
I'm not switching.
AT&T, I will come to your network if you pay me.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I will join the network too if they want to pay me.
You know those monthly fees? How about you pay them and then I'll stop paying when?
That sounds like a great business plan, Mike.
They're going to make a ton of money.
Mike Stenger's upgrade plan.
Yeah. They'll gain a ton of viewers, not a ton of money.
Upgrade first, win.
Exactly. So let's just hope that we see some changes coming up with them. Now, this is the Nexus special, guys. Let's get right into the Nexus rumors. Last week, we seen a crap load of Nexus rumors dropping right, left, and center. Some key lime Android Pie rumors coming out, and then late Saturday night, come Sunday, there was a crushing of the dreams. There was what I like to refer to as Nexusgate. One of our esteemed Android sites in the Android community learned that their inside source was not really so inside. He was actually very outside. And he had created and fabricated a lot of the Android rumors that we had seen through last week. I know it broke my heart, made me cry.
It's disgraceful.
It was.
And the person who made up these rumors, he is unfortunately now dead. We just got that in a little bit ago.
That's what happens when you make up untrue Android rumors. People come by and they take care of you. You go off.
Yeah, we tried to ping the IP address, but we didn't get a ping back. So
somebody got to him. Somebody got to him. The Android Mafia took care of him. Took him out to the swamp. Did him in. Old school style. Anyways, as you guys know, and there was all kinds of stuff going on. You know, just to kind of reiterate some of the news that got retracted were, you know, Play Store tweaks, updated video player, you know, the Nexus program overhaul, the customization center.
All my dreams.
Yeah, and you know, while some of these rumors, you know, Alex, our esteemed writer, he actually wrote a preview last Sunday before the Android and Me came out with their inside sources, and he had a lot of this stuff kind of in his preview. So some of this information was already out there. Maybe they fed off of Alex's story because a lot of it was very close related, but we won't want to be associated with with the fake stuff. But a lot of this stuff that we had discussed in the preview kind of made it out into this fake stuff. And while, you know, this source is claimed as being fake, there's a lot of, you know, kind of underlying truths to it, or at least some of the topics are related to some truths. Obviously, it got blown out of proportion. If we take a look at some of these rumors that, you know, they were talking about was the new Nexus program, you know, it's obvious that there's something new going on with the Nexus program, as last year it was reported by the Wall Street Journal that we were going to see 5 new Nexus devices this fall. Now, you know, whether or not we see those actual 5, that's another thing to be determined. We technically have already had 2 Nexus devices, the Nexus 7 and the RIP, dead and long gone, Nexus Q device. So that means that there's still 3 potential, you know, Nexus devices, or possibly 5. But I mean,
you can count Q.
Sorry, Alex? Oh, someone. Okay. Anyways, there's potentially at least 3 devices that could come into play. So there is technically a new Nexus program in play. You know, it's been tradition for the Nexus program to, you know, release 1 device every fall, and that be it. And, you know, according to the Wall Street Journal, those rumors that we're going to see more devices. Now, there's could be a load of crap too as well. You know, with these rumors that was quite a long time ago. It may not have been true as well, but it definitely looks like Google is looking to push more devices out. So, you know, they are expanding the Nexus program. We've seen the 2 devices already released. We know a 3rd one's coming. You know, and there's, you know, some rumors that we're going to hit up on through this show of possibly other Nexus devices, you know, coming into play within the next month or so. Now, you guys have read up and kept up with this, you know, new Nexus program. You know, obviously 5 new devices is what the new Nexus program is. More devices being sold. Do you guys think we're going to see that many devices actually hit the market? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. I mean, it just seems that I like the idea, but also, I mean, that many Nexus devices, that's really going to confuse people, and I think it's just going to water things down, if that's the case.
That's a definite problem. Alex, you were laughing there. Did you think that was funny?
That is going to confuse people? Yeah, that's funny, but it's true.
Yeah, it's one of these things where, it's like what Mike said, you sort of think, people are going to get confused, and then you realise not everyone's like us. Not everyone wants a bajillion Nexus devices.
Right.
You know,
before it was like it's like, oh, you want a new Android phone? You should check out the Nexus. And there's only 1 Nexus. Now it's gonna be like, hey, you should check out the Nexus. Which one? There's like 18 of them now.
Bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
Who said bullshit?
Wasn't me.
Okay.
Was it me?
Is that Justin? No, probably not. You can't call. It was Alex. Okay.
Nope.
Anyways, guys, my kind of philosophy is, this new Nexus Pro program is something that definitely they have to tread carefully with, because they don't want to water down the product. They don't want to, turn this into everyone can have a Nexus device, because that's when it no longer becomes a special device anymore. So we, obviously, if they're going to put out these many devices, we want to see some strict control on it. But they're not going to be able to do this every year. Or is it going to be kind of like where the rumor had said, the fake rumor, that these are going to be Nexus certified devices, where there's a benchmark, a quality of devices. I would think that that's pretty well a given, that we're going to have to see certain quality of Nexus devices. Now, the one thing that kind of with all these devices out, whether or not they're true, we'll see in the upcoming days. But I'm a huge Nexus fan, and I love it. I had the Nexus One straight off the bat, and I love everything about it. But I think where some of the where this Nexus, multiple devices are coming in is possibly from Google itself. The Nexus line is, meant to compete with some of the top tier phones and as well the iPhone, and give this great experience. But the truth be told is that the Nexus line is not like a huge seller. It's for very much so Android enthusiasts, people who are hardcore into Android, like much of the staff on here and a lot of people that follow our site. But the average consumers, they're not so much, well tuned into what, the benefits of the Nexus devices are, and, and how the advantages of having them over other devices. So this might be a ploy maybe by Google to start selling more phones, because let's face it, the numbers have never really been put out there as to how many devices are sold in the Nexus line. And from the word that I've heard from my insiders, not fake ones, is that the numbers are not super great. They're not going to blow away, and they've never really been published as the type of or bragged about as the type of numbers that we've seen. So in order for them to have more companies putting out their devices, and if it's Sony, LG, Samsung, and whoever else, HTC, the more devices out there, the more marketing and the more that they can turn people on to Android. Now that would be kind of the only reason that I would see that Google would kind of start pimping out more of their phones, horn them out so they could get that name out there to more consumers. And that's a potential way for them to do it. They're also selling their phones exclusively online at their store now, kind of getting back into that. And the more devices available is another way for them to, make more sales.
Yeah, well, while that's a great idea, it's Android itself. It's still still so many different phones and stuff to choose from as it is. And it's just going to confuse people, and a bunch of Nexus devices is just going to oversaturate the market even more. I mean, let's face it.
I think you're right, Mike. But also, I mean, like Chris says, it doesn't get to as many people. I mean, over here, when I first wanted to change to Android, I knew I wanted a Nexus One because I thought the design of the phone was really nice, and I wanted pure stock Android. I wanted to just mess the fuck out of my phone. I really wanted to do all sorts of things to my phone, and my carrier didn't have it, and I didn't want to go elsewhere because I've had a long relationship with my carrier. I've had my phone number for close to a decade now. I don't want to go anywhere else, and so it was either go somewhere else or I don't get a Nexus. And then so I ended up with an HTC Desire, which is basically the Nexus One. But then the Nexus S came out, and you could get it on contract from some places, but then it was only available for like a certain period, and then it just disappeared off shelves. So I had to go and buy one, second hand, because no one would sell them brand new. And the same thing happened to me earlier on in the year when it was my upgrade. It was June, July, I think my upgrade was, and I said to them, "Well, can I have a Galaxy Nexus?" So no, Samsung have recalled them. We don't have any Galaxy Nexus left. was like, right, so you don't have another Nexus. So I had to get a One X because, Chris said to me, just wait. But then if I waited until the autumn, then my contract becomes longer and longer. So maybe if they go with more and more Nexus phones, then there will actually be a Nexus device on every carrier that could potentially become a real Nexus. Like, for instance, I don't think people would moan as much if there was a Sony Nexus on Verizon that didn't get updates as quick as an LG Nexus on AT&T because they're different phones. Whereas the Verizon Galaxy Nexus, it makes absolutely no sense that a phone on two different carriers doesn't get the update at the same time. But when you take away the likeness, it might kind of take the heat off of Verizon and Sprint for not knowing how to update phones properly. And more people will be able to get Nexus.
Putting more Nexus devices out there is always a good thing as well too, because it's going to slow down some of the fragmentation that takes place and these long delays that is taking for operating system updates to take place. I mean, Jelly Bean and ice cream sandwiches, just rolling these out from the carriers is just becoming ridiculous. And I think by selling more Nexus phones, obviously, some of it's not going to be so much through carriers, it's going to be online and selling it online and creating those buzzes from all those different manufacturers that are going to be putting out more devices. And the best way to get the best Android experience is to have a Nexus device, that isn't covered in a UI that, takes, an extra 6 months for a carrier or manufacturer to update properly. So, what do you got to think about that, Alex? Put you on the spot a little bit.
I don't know. I'm still upset with Sprint for taking so long and giving me Jelly Bean.
Well, see, and there, that's where we go back to is that this can help, Android say to its own manufacturers, if you guys are not gonna put these updates out in time, we're gonna put out more devices, under the Nexus brand that are gonna get these updates in time. You're gonna have to start competing with them. So potentially for a new Nexus program, are we gonna see more devices? I think so. How many? We'll see. Now, the latest device, or the device that is rumored this fall to be the next Nexus, is the LG Nexus. The Optimus G, which is not a favorite name of mine, but it's based off of the Optimus G phone that was just recently announced from LG and is going to be going to the AT&T and Sprint network. So my question to you, is it fact or fiction? A Nexus G type of phone, well, they already have the Optimus G going to Sprint and AT&T. So why would they put out a Nexus device that is exactly the same and already going to two other devices? Or do you think that this rumor is totally false and it's only going to have similar specs? Because it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense for a device to be coming out and there's already one going out to two carriers. Or are they just going to only sell it online? What do you guys think on that rumor?
Yeah, it seemed kind of odd because I think I recall I wrote an article about the LG Nexus and it's like, wait. So we've got the Optimus G coming out and then we've got the Optimus G Nexus, which pretty much the exact same specs. It's kind of again, it's confusing. Like why would anyone do that to begin with? So I don't know. I don't think so, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't. I mean, why would you have the same phone, the same guts, unless you're just going to change the case and call it a Nexus? That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. I mean, I'll just buy an Optimus G then, right? Why buy the Nexus?
Well, and there was also talk that while the specs were similar, there was also talk that the design was different. Like, for example, the corners were instead of being sharp like the Optimus G, they were more rounded, and that there was also going to be a silver ring around the phone, like with the iPhone 3G, and it's like, what?
I think that was in the Nexusgate rumors.
Oh, okay.
We should
have seen that coming. I mean, let's be honest. Your rectangular silver ring around a device basically screams, "I'm a 3GS. Come at me." you know.
Apple's
But no.
lawsuit, patent, we own round corners. But anyways, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense now. I mean, we've heard from a lot of sources outside of the Nexusgate rumors that this is the phone coming, is the Nexus. And you know, the rumors have been, just besides this fall, they were there last fall. So there's definitely some, you know, some truth to it that we're going to see an LG phone coming up. No doubt in my mind. Have we heard exactly what it's going to be? I don't think so. I don't think the Optimus G tied-in rumor stuff, I don't think that those are quite the whole story. So definitely stay tuned for more news on that, because I think the Optimus G, they can call it whatever the hell they want, but I don't think it's going to be based on the same phone that they're releasing on the AT&T in spring. Just doesn't make sense. Let's move on to some other manufacturers. Let's kind of go down the line and see what you guys think in terms of other manufacturers getting these devices. Sony has been one that was thrown out right away. I'm kind of surprised. I'm not a huge Sony fan, but they have a nice new Sony Xperia T or TL coming out. What do you guys think on that? Do you think that device would qualify as to be in a Nexus device? Has it got specs, or you know, do you think that these high-end Sony devices are even qualified to be in the Nexus realm?
I'm saying fiction on the Sony.
What's that, Christina?
I'm saying fiction on the Sony just because, you know, we haven't heard a lot about, I mean, it's just barely a little bit on the Sony, and it just, to me, it just doesn't seem like it would happen. I could be wrong.
You could be wrong, very well. I mean, keep in mind that the original, or the rumor or story that we had heard, and actually I think some Sony reps had confirmed it, but back in the day, the Xperia X10 was rumored to have been a possible Nexus device, actually, and they ended up going with HTC. That's some old school rumor talk back in the day. They were still in the mix a bit. So, you know, there's, you know, potential that Sony could be in there, but we have not heard a lot, like Christina had said. But they have some new nice devices from Sony. What do you think, Tom?
I think I think Sony are actually secretly quite desperate for a Nexus, because if you look at it,
secretly, huh?
well, you know, Jean-Baptiste, you know, the maintainer of the AOSP, you know, said when they finally updated the original Tablet S and Tablet P to Ice Cream Sandwich, he said that, you know, quite publicly on Google Plus, he said Sony have contributed more code to the AOSP recently than anybody else. Now, you know, everyone's in Android together. You know, you remember the Open Handset Alliance. You have to toe the line, but you don't go like further than anybody else just for the sake of it. I mean, yeah, you've got to kind of get your hardware up to standard, but they were just Tegra 2 devices. They weren't anything out of the ordinary. They were running the same hardware anybody else was. And then, when Jean-Baptiste wanted to kick off the Xperia S experiment, where the AOSP, where he hopes to have the Xperia S as a build target, so that one day you can go to the AOSP and go, instead of just building it for a Nexus like you can every release, you just go, build for the Xperia S. You know, that would have been the first time that you could have done that with the AOSP. And Sony were great with that. Oh, you want some more binaries? There you go. Have some more binary drivers. You know, they were really quite good about it. And you know, it's got an unlocked bootloader. You know, I mean, you can say that, you know, HTC let me unlock the bootloader on my One X, but they did a really shit job at it, because every time I flash a kernel, I have to flash a boot.img. You know, they're still cagey about it, and everybody else is. Whereas Sony are just like, yeah, you want to make a Nexus out of our Xperia? Yeah, sod it, do it. You know, and I think they're in the running. I mean, they look like they could really
definitely working a lot closer with the Android team, it seems, especially with the source and the code, and you know, and being open, and that's definitely a large part of it. It's kind of strange that we haven't seen a little bit of more information, but who knows? Everything might be under, you know, tight lockup, under lock and key, like the Samsung Galaxy S3, that we never seen a leak or an image until it was time.
I think Google's just playing a prank on us, and Nokia's going to launch a Nexus phone.
Oh, that'd be great.
Perfect. I actually heard it was BlackBerry going to Android. Sorry.
Well, BlackBerry 10 is secretly an Android 5.
SBB.
There ain't no key lime pie, it's just BlackBerry 10, okay?
Yeah.
Let's cut that.
That's it, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's hit up the next phone that's supposed to be rumored. Samsung device, right? Samsung device is, they've made the last two devices, our beloved Nexus S and Galaxy Nexus devices, obviously they would be favored to roll out another device. As you know, it probably would be nice to see some other manufacturers get into the game just besides them. We've heard some rumors of the Nexus Premier, or whatever the hell they want to call it, Galaxy S2. We won't know the actual name till it's dropped. There was some fake rumors about the type of specs in there. The specs are, kind of wonky. We won't know exactly. I mean, a lot of Samsung devices, actual device specs, you will not hear anything about them, solidly until we either have someone with a hands-on with the actual device or it's actually released. But does it make sense to give them another shot at the title, considering that they've had good to subpar success somewhat? They haven't blown it out of the water like they have with their Galaxy S3 line. What do you think, Alex? You think Samsung deserves another shot at the title?
I think they can do it if they are going to launch more than just one Nexus device this fall. I like my Galaxy Nexus, so I wouldn't mind getting another one from them.
You don't mind it, but I mean, what about Tom? Would you like to see another one going on?
Well, I think we say give them another shot at the title. I think the rumored Galaxy Nexus 2, as it was rumored, is sort of it's an evolution of the original Galaxy Nexus. So if they were going to do, say, a spread of Nexus phones, then that would just be a real nice way for Samsung to get their name out as another Nexus provider without spending much more cash. I mean, they could just, save some money, make a revamped version. They could just do like a, repaint it.
Throw it on a Galaxy S3 body, throw stock Android on it, throw an extra gigabyte of RAM, and shoot it out the door. Maybe that's
for sure.
3 gigabyte if Galaxy S3 we seen the other day.
Well, if they were going to do like a spread of Nexus phones, and they said to everyone, "Oh yeah, you want to make a Nexus phone? Come and make a Nexus phone." And then Samsung goes, "Whoa, hey, oh no, you can make one too." All right, do we get the flagship? No, you just get like they're all sort of the same. Oh, we'll just do that one again.
But I'm a little worried though about Samsung putting out a phone. I mean, obviously their franchise is the Galaxy S3 and the Note 2, which is going to be kind of in direct competition with the Galaxy Nexus that's going to be coming out based right around launch times. So they're all going to be fighting. That would be 3 devices.
Samsung not bothered. Let's be honest. Samsung will make anything. Let's be honest.
Okay, I mean, not bothered. But how hard do they really push the Nexus device when they know that they have their 2 franchise phones? They're not going to go and throw out some monster specs or something crazy when they know that they have
just do the
2
same
devices
again.
already selling like crazy.
Well, I mean, what they'll do is they'll probably just see Samsung. Just like I laugh and I say they're not bothered, but realistically, they actually probably don't care that much because they can put all their marketing and stuff behind the Note 2 and the Galaxy S3 because whilst they're the Galaxy S3, the Galaxy S is getting bigger and bigger, they're still very different phones. They're meant for very different people. So it doesn't matter whether they're on different carriers or if they're all on the same carrier together. They could just say, right, Google can say, oh, well, we want you to make another Galaxy like, the Galaxy Nexus like last year's. All right, so do you want us to do the marketing? No, we'll do that. And then they'll sell it through the Play Store because you didn't see much from Samsung after, when it came out, Galaxy Nexus, and then it just went to the Play Store and it's not died a death, but it's sort of, you don't really hear much in conjunction with the Galaxy Nexus. You don't hear Samsung.
It was more Google that did the actual marketing.
Yeah.
than
So Samsung will just make it and just ship it.
Samsung.
I think it's time for Samsung to pass the torch to another manufacturer.
Yeah, I'm agreeing
Yeah.
with that.
I agree with that.
Maybe they just might
That's a
get
good
bypassed.
call. They already have some great devices out there. They've had 2 kicks at the can. Let's move it on to someone new. How about we move it on to Motorola? I know a lot of people would love to see a Motorola Nexus. Mike, you did some story just the other day on a potential device. What was the story on that?
Yeah, so basically, over at another Android site, they discovered some interesting stuff in their server logs, and basically it was possibly a Motorola phone and tablet, and one of them, from what they said, basically one of them could be a potential Razer device, but that's different from the Razer HD and the other Razers that were announced, and that could possibly maybe be a Motorola Nexus phone, and then they also talked about a tablet, but we're talking about Nexus, so.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, this ties right back into what we were talking. I mean, I think the rumored name was what was it, Ocom or something like that.
Yeah.
And what else was there? Manta, and one's a phone, and the other one is a tablet. And they were running a version of 4.2 on there, and they saw that through the server logs and the codes. Now, Manta, that's kind of like on, what is it, the fishy name there. I think Mike had said, you know, when last year the Exum had 2 code names of Stingray and Wingray. And
it kind of goes hand in hand with those two. So, and there's also talk that tablet could, in fact, be the Nexus 10.
Exactly, and that could fit into definitely to the rumors of the 5 devices. That could be another device, 2 phones possibly, and a Nexus 10, right? That would make a lot of common sense right there. You know, because they had this talk about the 10 devices. Motorola, acquired by Google, getting thrown into the mix. Definitely, you know, and something that had been rumored for a while. Do you think, though, it would cause a little pissed off other OEMs, though?
I think it would, though. I think I feel that
get 2 of them.
Yeah, I feel that it's too early for Motorola to get a Nexus device because Google just acquired them this year, and Google's came out and said we're not giving Motorola special treatment. And if Motorola was then just to get, you know, a couple Nexus devices or even one right now, I think there'd be a lot of companies being like, hey, this is not fair.
So maybe they give them, you know, key lime pie exclusivity, or not exclusivity, but they're one of the first companies to come out with key lime pie, just running a stock Android experience potentially, because that's what we're seeing so far. We can't confirm any Nexus on there, but possibly, you know, just running key lime pie or the next 4.2 Jelly Bean, whatever they want to call it. Possibly that's what could take place, but definitely due to those server logs. There was also as well today, I think you had reported on, there was some benchmarks that were going on as well too from that same device.
I'm not sure I covered.
Actually, no, it wasn't Mike. It was another Michael from our site who was not on the podcast. And some benchmarks had shown up this week running on those devices as well too. So there's definitely a couple of Motorola devices running some new operating system updates. Whether or not they're Nexus devices, we'll see. But it definitely makes you go, that's for sure. Could that be, you know, something that we see soon?
Yeah, and before we move on, if Motorola was to come out with a Nexus phone and it was like the Razer and it had the same battery life as the Razer Max, that would be an amazing phone.
That would be a huge seller.
Yes.
Alex would marry the phone.
But would it get updates? I mean, would they be able to deliver the updates?
Yeah, it would be like the Bionic and never get an update.
Okay,
Yeah,
if it's a Google experience, that takes the update out of the hands of the manufacturer.
Yeah, because they did real well with the Zoom, didn't they?
Google's hands.
Unless it's Verizon or Sprint.
Somewhat. Unless it's Verizon, yes, but that's a carrier included. Now that's always a part of an equation that'll scare us, is once a carrier is involved.
The thing is do we really want Motorola to have a Nexus device? I mean, Motorola aren't good at doing new things. I mean, realistically. I mean, you know, the zoom was new, and it was heavy, it had poor viewing angles, you could have built a house out of a few of them. You know, they weren't good. They're not good at doing new things. And to trust them with this new thing, like Mike says, it's far too early for them to get a Nexus anyway, but unless, you know, they're not good at doing new things. I mean, they've been stuck on the Razer design language since the end of last year. Even HTC have moved on. I mean, go on. You know,
you gotta give them some time, you know, because when Google took it over, you know, it just takes forever to take over a company and get your people in place and, you know, probably throw out every single design that they were working on before because it was shit. So, you know, they've had to
but
start
you know
from
it's just the same
again.
design. You know it's just the same design. They didn't have to throw anything out because Motorola have been the same for so long now. They do one thing and they work on that for a bit and they increment it, and then out of that increment comes something slightly newish.
Well, they had a lot of people to fire. That's what they've been doing, firing people. Because
so that's why.
You know, and throwing bigger batteries and making more colors.
That's why the Razer M is such an ugly device, because they fired people.
But you know, I would love to see Motorola make a new Nexus device through a new player in there. And you know, what other
I'll never see it in Europe, so.
What other company would give us 12 different choices of colors? You know?
You really need that many different variety? You need that variety?
Well, Motorola seems to think so with their Droid Razr lineup and Max. They've come out with every color in the rainbow. So
but what I don't understand is what they haven't done yet is, well, I mean, they can't because you don't get removable battery covers, but why don't they just cut out the middleman and go, right, you buy a Razr Max, and if you keep the phone for so long, every month we will give you a new coloured bag. And you can change the bag, and it's a loyalty program. The longer you have your phone,
they know that if they come out with a hot pink phone, you're going to be trading in your red phone next month.
We work for the original Razr. Why not Droid Razr?
That's right. I mean, and you know, and when fall comes, you go in for the green one because you're going to need that $700 new Android Razr phone to match your outfit.
Of course.
Okay, let's reel it back in here. So you know, we definitely have some potentials for these companies. Let's see what your guys' thoughts are. Actually, we almost forgot about somebody. HTC, my bad, and obviously it ties into because they're only on AT&T, so I totally forgot about them. HTC.
AT&T Nexus.
Yeah, HTC, the original Nexus One makers. You know, they have some beautiful design builds. You know, at least quality-wise. Do we see the HTC Nexus One Plus 2 or something coming out? Does anybody see that? Would anybody buy it? Would anybody want it?
I think people buy it for the name.
I loved my HTC Nexus One until I decided that it needed to come into the hot tub with me. It worked fine. You know.
You've still got it, haven't you, Chris?
Yeah, and it still works even though it went into the hot tub, you know? So it was a great device. It ran out of storage, you know, prematurely. But it was a great, solid device. And I'd like to see them have another kick at the can. Maybe it'll boost some sales. Maybe they won't go bankrupt. You know, so how about you, Alex? You want to buy an HTC Nexus?
I would love to buy an HTC Nexus. I love their devices.
You must, Tom. Do you have an HTC X1?
Oh yeah, if they bought out, an HTC Nexus again, I'd be all over that. But if they pull a One X Plus
with a Nexus badge on it, no.
If they pull a One X Plus on me again, I'm done. I'm done. I mean, we've got this great new phone, and it's just the same as last year, but a little bit red. Have fun.
How about Christina? An HTC X1?
I don't know. They'd really
Nexus?
have to come out with a different name for me to even be interested in it.
The naming has a lot to do with it for you?
Yeah, come on, let's be creative here.
HTC One Nexus.
Damn it, beat me too.
Nexus One, because you know they're going to be super creative about it. Mike, you got an HTC device. Would that fancy you, or are you set on those big phablets? I've been hearing whispers.
I don't know. I kind of like the 5+ inch screen phones. Like I'm definitely looking forward to the Galaxy Note 2. So.
Well, I tell you, if they came out with a Nexus 5-inch or plus, I'd be game for it.
Oh
Definitely.
yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Would love that. So let's see, guys. Now, out of all the manufacturers, let's start with Alex. Who are you buying a Nexus device from if it comes out with from all the guys?
If Motorola puts a max size battery in their Nexus, it'll be them, just for the battery. But other than that, it'll be between Samsung and HTC.
Okay, fair enough. Tom, who's your pick for Nexus? If you can buy a Nexus device from any manufacturer that we've listed, don't go saying like some Pantech or Huawei.
Yes, or the Pantech Burst. That's
some
all I want.
China spying phone maker.
It's like a kid in a sweet shop. I'm gonna stick with LG. It'll be fresh, be new. They make good screens, and I really want my phone to break after 6 months. So I want an LG. Awesome. Nice little stab there. Christina, who's your pick for a Nexus?
It's really tough for me, but I'm gonna have to go between Samsung or Motorola. Although it would take a lot of trust for me to get a Motorola device.
I understand that problem. I do. Mike, where are you at? We know you're in phablet land, but if let's say they made a phablet Nexus, all 5 of the guys made one. Who would it be? Who would be the one?
I don't know. That's tough. I mean, I really can't decide. But I'm kind of with Alex. If Motorola was to come out with like a really nicely powered Nexus phone with a big ass battery, I would be all over that. However, the problem is, since it's Motorola, they'd be on Verizon, so then that would be no.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, how do you get
so I probably HTC or LG.
Okay. See, this is another reason why the Nexus program needs to be expanded to more companies, because you have these guys with their favoritism with their carriers. I want to see these all sold just on the.
I am so sorry that I like unlimited data and aren't restricted. I am so sorry.
No, but I want to see it on no carrier. I want to see it on the Google Play Store and decide who I go with. You know, if I wanted to go with Verizon, I want to go AT&T or T-Mobile. Let me make that choice. I'll buy that Nexus device and choose who I want to go with afterwards. That's how.
I just say I don't have this whole carrier thing. I just
This is a USA issue among us.
Oh, sorry.
Among us Yanks.
Yeah, you're
Get
not
out of it.
included in this group.
Sorry, I'm just enjoying the freedom of a totally GSM environment.
That's the thing, though. We get shittier carriers, but we get nicer weather.
And we have LTE here, right, Tom?
Hey, look. No, don't get me started on the LTE thing. Don't do it.
All right, guys. So now let's boil down some of these rumors. They're talking about that we'll see this thing at All Things D, is what the rumor was last week during Nexusgate. It's coming out at what is it, October 29th or something like that. Now, I have a little bit of problem with that rumor that that's where it's going to be. Now, is that just going to be Andy Rubin sitting in his chair drinking some coffee and say, oh, yeah, we got some Nexus devices going out? You know, is that the planned launch? No,
Brought some friends with me.
I don't think so. I mean, if you look at Samsung's launch of the Galaxy Nexus last year, and it was like a fucking rock concert. You know, like an Apple show, and that's what we need. We need, you know, some, you know, excitement, not, you know, some guy sitting next to another guy drinking some coffee, talking monotone. I want flashing lights and music, and you know, some boring guys telling me about the phone for an hour straight. So I don't see it happening at All Things.
I think LG can deliver that for you.
If you're trying to create some excitement about a device, you're not going to do it at All Things D, where you have, you know, some tech geek on there, talking to this guy one-on-one, and that's going to be the big, launch. What, he's going to hold up the phone, here it is, here's the specs, da-da-da. No, we need a huge launch for these devices. That's how you sell the devices.
We need someone to jump out of an airplane without a parachute and debut.
I want to see the reincarnation of Steve Jobs, his dead body thrown from the plane, and holding up a new Nexus device, or at least, or something like that.
This video is going to get flagged by Apple fans so quickly, Chris.
Perfect. Then obviously they're jealous that you've got the iPhone 5, so I mean.
Turn off your Macs.
But yeah, I mean, hopefully we're going to see some fancy launch. I mean, that's the way these devices should be launched, not at, some, little interview. And hopefully, we see some big promos going for this. So while there might be some talk at All Things D, we're going to definitely, see the introduction, I would think, at some big show, especially if it's LG. LG, hasn't had the best, kind of penetration in the U.S. market. So if they really want to, make a big splash going with a Nexus, maybe having Lady Gaga or somebody, coming out there
Lady
singing
Gaga,
Rihanna,
LG. So you did
Chris
that, Chris.
Brown,
So you did that.
And some light shows or something, on top of, New York State Empire Building or something, That's how we gotta roll, Go large or go home.
Yeah, so, but what you're telling us is you want someone to buy like Times Square, like whole day,
rent the whole fucking Times Square, launch it,
Just do something ridiculous.
That's how we gotta roll. The iPhone 5 is like, it's becoming like the presidential elections now when that stuff is launched, and everyone's tuning in from everywhere, and we gotta have Androids up there. So we gotta make sure we promote these phones just as well when
outside of every Apple store across the country.
I don't think we need to get overly extravagant with promoting this stuff, but it does help, I guess.
Especially with the Nexus line, I was telling you, Mike. They hadn't sold exactly, gangbusters of them. They're popular, no doubt, and they've sold somewhat well. But I'd love to see these phones compete with the Galaxy S3 or the iPhone 5 in terms of sales. I'm sure we all would. And if you want to do that, you got to market these things properly. And let's face it, Google hasn't exactly, been the Apple of marketing.
Because they
have a different approach to it.
Well, and two,
they reflect the sales numbers.
Well, and two, the people they have talk about the devices aren't good at professional speaking. That's a big thing right there.
It's horrible, some of these guys that are announcing the devices.
The guys
who build the devices. They shouldn't be announcing the devices.
Right. These are the guys behind the scenes that are kind of like in their own little corner doing stuff, and they don't ever talk to large groups of people.
I mean, these guys are, most of them, and I love them all. I love you all. Don't harp on us, but some of them exactly don't come across as the most social outcasts. They come out as a social outcast. The guys that might have, problems in social speaking environments.
Yeah.
Necessarily. These guys are not paid for
Samsung's PR team are
motivational.
So angry.
Hey, what's that, Tom?
You've just made Samsung's PR team so angry right now.
I was talking about Androids. Google's. I mean, actually, if you look at last year's Galaxy S2 launch, they had some professional paid speakers doing their launch. Versus, the Google dev team who are not professional speakers that create excitement and know how to, throw together a professional sales pitch, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's Google's laid-back mentality, is to have, the coders go out there and talk about the device.
That's how the Nexus 7 is so cheap. They never pay any speakers, ever.
Exactly.
You're reaping the benefits now, Chris.
On the devices. Get the guys.
The Nexus S was launched terribly, but now you've got the benefits.
It's a flawed marketing plan, though.
It is.
All right, guys. So now that we've killed the, at least it shouldn't be launched at All Things D. You can give us some rumors or hints or some previews on it, but I want a big show. I want it to be like the 4th of July.
Explosions.
Exactly. Rock my world, Google. Okay. I think we've pretty well hit up the Nexus device, what we're going to see out of them. In terms of specs, we'll see a quad-core maybe 2 GB, 1 GB, some 64 GB of RAM, some beautiful 1080p screen with some
16
400
CPUs.
PPI resolutions. Who knows? We're not going to see these specs until they're actually announced. We can talk about them all day until one fall, some guy leaves one in a bar, or until they're announced. This is
to be in 2010 again. Oh, them were the days.
Those were the days. I used to love it. Guys would leave their phones. They'd hire 17-year-olds. They'd take pictures of them. Now, people get sued for millions, so we'll see what happens with the leagues.
Oh, it's always the lawyers, man. The lawyers.
I know. It's all about the lawyers now. It's too much money involved in the business.
It's all about the green, man. It's just...
It's so commercialized now.
Why can't someone just have fun with their phone in a bar and just give it to the world,
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Let's wrap up the Nexus rumors by talking a little bit about some key light pie, which is rumored. Some guys say, it's going to be a small update. It's only going to be Jelly Bean, and the fact is we don't really know. There goes all of our viewers. They just all dropped off. They're like, these guys don't even fucking know. What the hell am I going to watch them? But anyway,
it's like Android and me all over again.
Exactly. It's Nexusgate all over. But Alex, hit on a lot of points last week about some potential things we would love to see. They somehow made it into the rumors. So, you know what? Let's talk about those freaking rumors. Because obviously, we won't go as far as the Nexusgate bullshit that was, put out there. But let's talk, because there's some stuff in there that has some truth to it. Now, the customization center was one in there. Now, Alex had talked about, being able to, tweak your device, throw some ROM stuff on there. That would be beautiful. But the realization, what's the chances of that happening? Pretty slim to none, maybe on this release. What do you think, Alex? You're the one who threw it out there.
It's your fault.
I'd love to see the customization center. I mean, I flash a new ROM like once a week or more often.
Come on.
And every Android lover would love to see it.
Yeah, but I was looking more of the customization center to be like the carriers or the manufacturer skins, like Sense, TouchWiz.
Yeah, and it makes good sense. It's
so
something
you can disable it, and you can disable and get stock Android.
Yeah, and I mean, it's something we would all love, to be able to take off that bulky UI, and I'm sure it's something that the Android team has heard a lot about, and it could solve some problems. So while this isn't something we're probably going to see in the next iteration of Android, this is probably something that's on that list. Where on that list it's falling, we'll see. But definitely something that you could see in the future, for sure. So is it a factor of fiction? It's definitely fiction for right now, but I think you're going to see it as a fact down the road, for sure. Now, the next kind of one that we had talked about was battery. Now this is a tough one, because does it come from the OEM manufacturers, the builders of the phones, or does it come from the software, and to tweak it? There was the bullshit rumor of Project Roadrunner that they were going to work on the software side of it, which is great. And if they can optimize this stuff, to get better battery life, gangbusters, awesome. But I don't think that's something on the software side we're going to see. I think that's going to come from the hardware side right now. If there's something that they can do more from the software, I'm not sure. I haven't really heard a whole lot they could really do for tweaking, and it might come in a bigger update of Android later on down the road. But I think this is something we're more going to see from the hardware. But it's definitely something that everyone wants to see. It's a huge complaint. Every single one of you guys. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you ever think that they'll be able to develop a battery that can withstand Android addicts? I want to know.
Anybody want to throw in on that?
I had a crazy rumor about this.
Do you think it's possible?
We need like a 8,000 milliamp battery to do that.
Yeah, and a strap.
I think
I think it's possible, and I think it could happen. I mean, we saw what Motorola did with the Razr Max. However, they were the only ones who did that. They were the only ones who packed a large battery in a small form factor, and no one else is doing it. But the problem is when like with the Razr Max, is you can't remove the battery.
Yeah.
So how are they going to make bigger batteries to where, you know, you can take it out? Because right now bigger batteries like over 3,000 milliamps are like huge, and you have to have this extra space, and it's ugly.
I think they're cramming this stuff in there because that's a number one complaint among any smartphone user is battery life. They want it to last longer. Motorola's done a good job with their batteries, but we still need more, obviously. And I think that while they're going to push their current technology, I think they're going to have, you know, and they're obviously looking at some new stuff, but I think it's going to come in the form of new technology, maybe some cell technology, you know, maybe working with some wireless technology. In the meantime, probably pushing, you know, the current technology as far as it could go. Maybe tweaking some of the software as well on there. But it's obviously a large concern. So I think next year is going to be the year of the battery. That you're going to see the year of the pig,
Sounds like
the year of the battery. They've pushed the quad.
Year of the battery.
That's right. They've pushed the processors really as far as they can go in terms of cores. You know, they can make them run a little faster. Next, we're already starting to see the RAM go up there. Storage is on its way. The only thing that's really kind of fallen behind is the battery. And obviously, people are loving the Motorola devices because the battery's so. We're going to see other manufacturers pushing the technology in this next year, and you know we'll see it for sure.
Now here's an idea though. They already have wireless charging, and but with like most of the wireless charging things, you have to actually put them like on a charging pad or something, right?
Yeah.
Well, Nikola Tesla, a long time ago, came up with a way to transmit
history lesson
wirelessly, which is very similar to what these wireless charging things are doing. But wouldn't it be interesting if all phones that came out had wireless charging built in, and then like places like coffee shops and stuff installed these like wireless charging devices into their places, and then when people would walk in, their phone would instantly be charged, and then when they'd leave, you know, they'd have a.
And then people would be suing Starbucks because their battery blew up.
Yeah.
Well,
I never thought that was a
with
great
that
idea.
technology, and no one could ever use it except for iPhones. But no,
well, inductive charging is everywhere. You could just put a pad inside Starbucks tables and just throw your phone on it.
Yeah.
But wireless power is they've got it working, but it only works over short distances. But I mean that would be if Google could just imagine if like Google just forgot Google Wallet. No, forget that. And then they made inductive charging standard in every single coffee shop in the United States. That's it.
And combined with Google Fiber, that would be
yes.
There we go, guys.
If they had Google Fiber in every place or whatever, then you wouldn't even have to worry about having 4G LTE. You could just hook up wirelessly wherever you go in town. Done.
That would be
finished.
Co-sign it. Send it off to Vic.
Me and you, Mike. That's it.
All right, guys. So the battery stuff, fact or fiction? Definitely, I think it's hard to say where those improvements are going to be coming from, but if it's hardware-wise, we're going to see improvements right away in the newer devices. If it's coming from Google, it might be a little bit of fiction because I think they're probably going to have to really work on the software before that happens, but who knows? I'm on the fence on that one. Now let's go on to our next topic. And it was some Play Store stuff. There was all kinds of things. From Nexus game bullshit to more videos and featured app of the days and sales and stuff like that. And I mean, the fact or fiction, this is definitely a fact. I mean, they're going to be improving on the Play Store all the time, looking for new ways to market and showcase their products and, get more sales. So I really don't don't think we're going to see, you know, much fiction there. How soon does it come? Well, that'll all depend on Google and how much they've pushed it. They've made quite a few changes just, you know, as of recently. What kind of stuff would you guys like to see changed in the Play Store? Anybody have some stuff off the top of their head they'd like to see?
I have one. No, I have one really annoying thing.
Yeah.
You know, when you say you open the Play Store and you go straight to search, the Play Store has to, unless they fixed it in like 3 point whatever, the Play Store has to load the front page before you can do a search.
Yeah.
So when I'm on like I still have GPRS in England. I have still like 56k a second internet sometimes. So when I want to check the Play Store, it has to load before I do a search. Why does it have to do that? Then you just need to refine it. Just, you know.
Maybe you have something integrated in Google now where you can like search for an app and it will then automatically pull it up inside of Google Play.
Getting ahead of us, but I like that idea. That's a really great idea. Like, you know, and you would think that Google would have a little better, you know, when I search for some apps, there's some great apps, but they get buried in there. Maybe a better type of ranking system or search you know, algorithms in there. That's something that I've had issue. I'd like to see a way for them to promote apps a little bit more, to have guys put apps on sale, have some type of controlling, you know. They do these 25-cent little deals, and they are popular, and the developers, you know, make tons of money. So it would be nice to have a sales center, you know, every week or something like that. Obviously, they'd have to work out the details, but, you know, it'd be a nice way to promote some of these apps that maybe don't, you know, get buried in the haystack of apps that are out there. And, you know, work with Google to have weekly sales. You know, you say, oh, that might water down the sale effect. Well, then they could just have a bigger sale. You know, when they want to do something special, give them away for a penny or something. Who knows? Anyways, my thoughts. Alex, anything in the Play Store bugging you'd like to see?
When you go to like My Apps, and you know you can search the ones that you've downloaded before. You scroll down, click on one, then you go back. It starts at the top.
Yes.
That is so annoying.
I hate that.
What's that about?
That is horrible, especially for.
Everyone
who could fix that.
Yeah, I don't know if YouTube is still like this, but I know in YouTube, if you scroll through your subscriptions and you scroll down and then you watch a video and then you go back, it starts at the very top and it's like, oh, and then you have to scroll all the way back. And, yeah.
That is just ridiculous. I mean, that is basically UX 101. Let's be serious.
Christina, how about you? You got some little Play Store advice?
Just, I mean, pretty much basically what everybody's been saying, you know.
How original.
Yesterday I had the same issue. I'm going through looking at themes and stuff, and you know, I click on them to read them to see what they're about, and then I got to start through the whole list again to pick up where I left off, and it's annoying. Well,
hopefully the Google team is watching today. They probably hate us by now, but we're throwing some good ideas. Jot the ideas down, put them into play. Next one is someone had thrown out there an updated video player. I'm going to throw this right at Alex. You had thrown up about video. Why would you want to see some new video app in there? Something with more codec support.
I'd like to see one that's faster, but maybe I just have to be on Wi-Fi because Branch 3G is probably too slow anyway. But I don't generally use the video player. I mostly just use YouTube.
Okay. I know that when I throw some shows onto my devices, I got to load up, you know, some codecs. Sometimes the codecs don't play nicely. I know that there's some patent issues and all that crap that goes along with that stuff. But it sure would be nice to see, you know, something that would handle all codecs that you could throw at it. That's for sure.
I think they're gonna have to do something with the video player, because aside from, I mean, you can click on MP4 streams off of the internet, like they'll load, but other than that, like, it's ridiculously basic. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, they don't even, you know, you don't even use it to get through to play movies. You have to load up the Play video app. So, what's
the point?
And in Chrome, when you watch videos like on the YouTube mobile site, it doesn't take away the soft keys and go to the full screen.
Yeah,
Like,
what's that about?
Yeah.
Exactly. So you guys as well also, Alex here, just to hit a few of his things we hit last week as well. Some better social networking integration, which they are kind of working on already. But just to see it have it a little more integrated through some of the devices would be nice. Project Butter enhancements. Well, who doesn't want something to be faster? Every year it should be faster. So they definitely got to go there. Would love to see that. Some of the Google services are not available outside our country. If you want to be popular, all of these Google services got to be available.
Don't get him started.
Tom, don't even get him started. It took him forever to get Google Music. He still doesn't
have Google Music.
Like, how horrible is that? But I think that has a lot to do with the greedy bastards at the music industry wanting, some stupid amount of money for their, Bon Jovi songs.
Well, I hate to throw a spanner in Google's works here, but Amazon's Music Locker. Oh, lo and behold, works in the UK. So Google, what's up?
What's going on?
Right. Just throwing that out there. So Vic, Matthias, sort me out.
Now I would love to see the Game Center thing. We hit on that last week. Gaming has become social. It's just time for them to move to that way. They have it on some type of gaming crap on G Plus as it is. Can't they throw that shit on to Android? Think about it. It's time.
They're way behind on Android with the whole being able to do multiplayer stuff and everything, because Apple on the iPhone and stuff, they've been able to play multiplayer games and be social when playing games for years.
Exactly. So there's some catch up definitely to do in that area. Now, Jelly Bean and ICS gave us some really nice eye candy. Mr. Duarte from WebOS, Palm Pre guy, we've definitely heard that he would like to make things look a little more prettier. Take it up to that next level. It's something that I would love to see. I would like to see, eye candy. I love eye candy, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I just want it to look even better. Smoother transitions, better looking graphics. They have the processors in the phones, the GPUs to handle it. So you definitely can push the envelope now with the UI and the video. That's for sure. Anyone else want to throw something in here on stuff you would love to see in the next iteration of a Nexus, ice cream, sandwich-ish type of holo theme looking in the new key lime pie?
I would like to see Google... Oh, go ahead.
I would
Girls,
love the
ladies
ability
first.
to change my font.
Change your font. Good call. Nothing too hard. Seems simple. You don't want to have to hack your phone just to do it.
Yeah, me and Alex were talking about this earlier. Just before the show started, Alex was saying he changed his font to the Ubuntu font on his GNex.
Yeah, with the brown toolbox.
Yeah, but I mean, why do I need to be rooted? Just throw it in the customization center. You see?
There we go.
Samsung can do it. Why can't Google?
But anything else, Tom? You'd like? Is that high on your list? Fonts?
No, I'm not too fussed with fonts. They kind of did quite well with Roboto. I mean, Droid Sans was crap, but Roboto was really nice. So, no, I think I'd like to see a refinement in in battery life. Pretty much, that's actually pretty much the top of my list. I know it's a boring addition. No, that and an updated video player, because as much as I like to install different apps and stuff, like Video LAN is great on Android, as is MX video player. I don't always want to have to do that. Like, I would like it if, every time I put a new ROM on or something like that, or every time I, whatever. I don't want to, when I click a link, I don't want the thing to pop up and ask me which app to use it in. I just want it to work sometimes.
Oh, yeah, good thinking.
I know you can always press the, always use, but I would just like them. I mean, they didn't. The stock browser. I want Chrome also to be default browser and actually good. and then that's it. Battery life, Chrome,
And
and
do
a new
something
video
about
player.
Flash videos. How
Well,
about
you're gonna
that?
have to talk to Adobe about that. I don't think they want to play.
Oh, that'll be on my list. Alex, how about you, buddy? What's your list? Obviously, the font was in there. What else would you like to see? Customization, loading your ROMs, battery life.
Pretty much everything I put in my preview.
Great. You just have a huge list for them. Okay. Let's hit over to Mike. What's yours?
I just want Google Now to physically be able to do stuff. So when I say make me dinner, it makes me dinner. When I tell it to do my laundry, it will do my laundry. That's real. That's the big feature that I really want.
Well, you'll be happy to know that Google Now definitely going to be updated in the next version. I mean, it's just at the beginning. There's tons of potential for it, you know, and there's a
Robotic
lot more
tie-ins,
coming.
you know.
Doing your laundry, being your girlfriend, or you know, paying your bills, or you know, telling off your loud neighbor upstairs. I'm not sure if that's coming up yet, you know, but we'll see. It's definitely got lots of potential to do all of that, Mike. It'll do all.
I'm looking forward to it.
But a good add-in, definitely. Love Google Now and love its potential. If I were to throw something in, mine are kind of little nitpicking things. One of them is, you know, the Flash thing. There's still tons of Flash content out there, but my Chrome browser doesn't support it. I still need to see Flash content until it's totally abolished off of the internet. So either ban or nuke fucking Adobe, so you know there's no more Flash content on the internet, and I don't see those gray boxes on web pages, or do something about it until we're all HTML5. Okay?
Can I be that really annoying?
Bridge the gap somehow.
Can I be the really annoying open source person who informs you if Flash was open source? We wouldn't be having this conversation.
I agree. But that's a long war, and I don't even want to go there. We'll lose viewers. I've already like freaked out about that, like big time. I had to visit the mental hospital after that episode.
Popped a vein.
So my next one is also, and I know it's kind of stupid, but you know one thing, and I want to iPhone. You know, there was one thing I always kind of liked on it, and it was like that full screen caller ID on there. I just always wondered why the hell couldn't they put that on Android? And I actually looked into it, and it has something to do with the way that things are coded and the way that the images are sent or pulled or something like that from the Android coding. So you know what? It's time for Android to get off their asses and give me a full screen caller ID. Like how hard is that? I want to see the ugly people that fucking call me.
Yeah, Chris, are you saying you're having a hard time seeing things now at your age?
Yeah, I need glasses. You know, it's either glasses or they make a full screen caller ID. So it's one of the two. You know, and I'm electing for the full screen caller ID on Android.
Just get Google glasses.
Although there's some people that call me that I would prefer to not see their face. So,
Yes.
you know.
Well, you know, that way I know to reject their call right away.
Yeah.
I don't have to look at the number and try and figure out who it is. Oh, that bitch. Forget it. You know?
And
No.
Bill collector. Uh-oh. Yeah. Anyways. So, that's my little...
That's why I give them my parents' number.
Well, now
Could
that
just
they're
say,
watching this, they know that. They're not going to be calling your parents anymore. What are you hoping? Your parents are going to pay the bill? My God. Can I have
Is
your
the call
parents' number?
collector?
Just kidding.
Is the is the debt collector's full screen thing? Is it just a few eyes through a letterbox? Is that all it is?
It is.
Just
It is.
peering through.
Okay, guys. So we've really hit up the Nexus and the key lime pie rumors. I can't wait to see what the next load of rumors will be coming out in the next week. Hopefully, we will have some real juicy, authentic rumors coming out. This is a fun time of season. It's really great.
You don't want a lot, do you?
And I love this time of year. It's like Christmas. We got more
Yeah.
rumors than iPhone 5. And they have to do this for like a whole year, this shit. We only had to do it for a couple of months.
you mean you haven't
I
heard
love
about
that.
You
But
haven't
one
heard
more
about
reason to
iPhone
swap
7?
to Android.
Yeah. What was that, Mike?
You haven't heard about the iPhone 7 yet? There's been all sorts of rumors about that.
Those rumors start next week, buddy. That's next week.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Well, anyways, guys, and now let's. We wanted to finish off our show with Tom's top 10 Android smartphone ranking, listing the best top 10 Android phones that are available now on the market. Not ones that are coming or rumored to be coming or totally fake. No, phones you can actually go out, buy in the store with your hard-earned cash, or handcuff yourself to a contract for 2 years and get these phones. So I'm going to hand it over to Tom. He's going to start us off with the top 10 best Android smartphones for October 2012. Take it away, Tom.
Yeah, well, I think, like Chris says, it's a very strange time. There are lots of phones coming out, but they're not here, and some are here and some aren't, and so it's a bit of a strange list.
We can't tell you to buy a phone until we've actually used it.
Yeah, well, there is that, so the list is a little bit strange this month, but, that'll all iron itself out. Well, it's a bit strange because, there's all these, in the news, there's all the fancy Motorola phones that are like last year's, so on and so forth, but they're not here, so,
Okay.
But anyway, beginning list we have with number 10 is HTC's One S. And then we have, at number 9, we have LG's fantastically large Intuition, which...
that's the ugliest fucking phone I've ever seen. Sorry, LG, but I had to say it. Everyone else is thinking it.
Which took forever to... Oh, they said it wasn't coming to the US or anywhere else out of Korea, and oh, look, it's on Verizon. Number 8 we have the Motorola Droid Razr Max still, which I am sure is...
You never updated to Jelly Bean?
Well, yeah, there is that.
Kidding everyone. Sorry, but don't.
I don't think it will get Jelly Bean.
That's a Nexusgate rumor.
Yeah. Number 7 we have the original Samsung Galaxy Note, which isn't going to stick around for much longer, I don't think, because the new one's coming out, but obviously it's not here yet. Number 6 we have...
Take note of that.
Number 6 we have HTC's Evo 4G LTE. And number 5 we have another phone from Sprint, which is the Motorola Photon Q 4G, which is pretty much your only option if you want QWERTY on Sprint and a decent phone.
The only QWERTY phone ever made anymore, is it?
Well, can't you still buy the latest Droid somewhere?
Yeah, the Droid 4 on Verizon.
Yeah, can you still buy it
Droid 7, which has the same power as the Droid 3. Just kidding.
Well, yeah, there is that.
Okay. On to your next phones.
Number 4 is the beloved Samsung Galaxy Nexus, which has
so
stayed.
low.
It's still, it's getting long in the tooth, It's but it stayed strong. And who knows? It might.
Phone. How the hell could it be any higher?
At number 3 we have the Droid Razr M, which is the only new Droid Razr to be released, and it is ridiculously good value. For $99, you get a dual-core smartphone. You get the same Snapdragon S4 that's in the Galaxy S3 and in the One X on AT&T, and all for under $100 LTE 4G.
Was that a paid product placement by Motorola? Sorry. Anyway, go on, Tom.
You think Motorola are going to pay me, the person that lives in the territories they don't give me phones? Why would I take their cash? No phones to buy. And number 2 we have the original HTC One X, because the One X Super Mega Plus times 2000 isn't here yet. And at number 1 we still have Samsung's Galaxy S3, which is now available in numerous different colours. So if you're feeling a bit,
Yeah, I saw that.
A little brown.
Also,
you can get brown.
Yeah, me and Mike were talking about this earlier.
Who's buying a shit brown Galaxy S3? Literally.
I think Mike was actually offended by this phone.
Yes, I was totally offended. Brown, really?
Brown, like seriously. I mean, okay, they're going for the mature market. Maybe your grandfather,
maybe they're going for
grandmother, who love the wood grain color, match their sofa and their Cadillac.
Yeah, the thing is, it's not wood grain. It's like some kind of mottled. I mean,
maybe they're marketing that brown Galaxy S3 to like hunters, so it can blend in with the environment.
Hunter version. The Hunter version, right? That's what I thought.
And then you can use your surrounding trees in the woods as a speaker dock because it'll just match. Perfect.
I just wanted to confirm, what was the other color that they're supposedly releasing? Is it the blood red? Or,
yeah, the garnet red you can get on AT&T, and then there's the black that's just been announced for Verizon, I think.
Black.
Is there another color that's coming to Verizon?
Black is a very shocking color for an Android handset.
That's racist.
I never thought that one would drop.
But it's not a good. I can't say it's not a good black. It's not a good shade of black on it.
Who cares what color they make it? You buy an Android case for your phone, changes the color anyways. Buy a shit brown one. Alright guys, we've pushed the envelope once again here on Android Headlines on the AH show, and I hope you all had a really good time. I know we did, and I guess that's all that matters. But in the meantime and in between time, thanks a lot for tuning in. We'll see you next week. No fake Android rumors next week. Nexusgate is over. Peace out, everybody. Catch you next week.